Commerciavelli, let's just say that you go get a job, because you got a job, right? So this is a job that you labor for, or, provide skills and labor, specifically more time in exchange for, currency, dollar bills, U.S. currency. Two things, though. Let's just say, stay in America. Let's stay in the United States, because I don't want to get into any other country right now. As we speak, you can go to the Federal Reserve website and look at their projections for inflation and make it public knowledge. Now, what is inflation? Inflation essentially is the devaluing of currency, the devaluing of the dollar bills. So we are doing business with regards to labor and time in a system that exchanges dollars for this labor, that projects and goes for and targets at least 2% inflation of the currency per year. I mean, think about that for a second. Is that not Commerciavelli? Is that not commercial warfare? Hold on. Let's say it is beyond 2%. So really, we see prices of goods and services rising, and these prices are priced in U.S. dollars. So one week or 1 month, you go and buy some eggs or some milk, and it's a certain price, $4.64 the milk, and then the next month you go and it's $4.66. The milk is not more expensive. It doesn't cost more for the milk. What's actually happening is the currency that you're using to purchase the milk is being devalued. So let's just say like this. If this is the case, which it is, because this is how it's working, you can double check, you can look at the facts and get back to us. But this is how it's working. So if we're looking at, as we do these exchanges for our labor, the currency that we're getting is being devalued. Not only that, we're paying taxes on the currency that we exchanged our labor and life for. Not only that, we're putting it into certain type of savings accounts, which may or may not be incurring fees. And all the while, the currency is being devalued. So $50,000 in 1945 is adjusted for inflation, and that's what they'll say. The news sources and stuff, when they're talking about wealth from a certain time period, they will say adjusted for inflation. And really what that is they're readjusting the value from the year that it was reported or actually made, or the year that the value was being held, to the year currently. So when it's adjusted for inflation, $45,000 in 1945 today would have the buying power of $603,382, which is ridiculous. Coming from that standpoint, we understand that At that time, $45,000 was over $600,000 at that time. So if you had $45,000 in 1945, you had the equivalent of today of over $600,000. But if you have $45,000 in 1945, that had the buying power of $600,000. What we're talking about today, $45,000, cannot get you what $600,000 can get you today. And then, and that's really, really what I'm trying to point out when it comes to commercial warfare. The commercial warfare begins with the currency. And sometimes, and most times, it ends with the currency. When people become dependent on paper notes for value, this dependency, and then they become dependent on these paper notes to get them food, clothing, and shelter, basic necessities. This is a type of warfare. So this way, when you can manipulate the commercial monetary system that the people have become dependent on, you can manipulate where they live. You can manipulate what they can afford. You can manipulate whether they live or die. And that is something that needs to be taken into account when we're dealing with the foundation of doing business and commerce. The premise of commerce is to gain a profit on an investment. Essentially, I give you money, you give me more money back. I give you money, I sit back and I do what I want to do, and every once in a while you give me money, and you give me more money back if I want to cash out. And that value needs to come from somewhere else. So where does that value come from? It comes from those who are dependent on the instruments of the commercial system. And those are the laborers. More often than not, they're the laborers. Unless, you're unionizing and demanding to be paid in some sort of monetary precious metal, you're going to be paid in a currency that can be deflated, inflated, devalued, revalued, pulled out of circulation, demonetized at any point in time. And we have this happening right now in Sweden, Australia, France, Venezuela, and India. And those are just the 5 off the top of my head that I've been following. So the foundation with regards to this whole mess, as far as I'm concerned, is the war of commerce to commercial avatars. So now, depending on what commercial avatar you're using, what name you're using, and what specific number is associated with it, will determine your rank in this warfare. In this war, we understand it's commercial war. So wars have generals and admirals and privates and laborers and medics and all this other stuff, right? Just stick with me. So depending on what avatar or whichever name, trade name, and class of trade name you're dealing with or you're doing business with will first and foremost determine that entity's rank, that name's rank. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm dealing with a government with a history of genocide, enslavement, unannounced scientific experimentation on its population, secret sites and classified, redacted documents, all this other stuff, you know what I mean? I don't feel too comfortable with the avatar that's given to me by said government. I don't trust in the fact that this, so-called government or this government is going to get me to the races on the best horse. especially when this government has a horse in the same race, and that horse is the avatar known as the IRS.
That's how they play the game. Well, that's how they play the game. You in the horse racing, so
I don't like gambling, man.
So hey, that's good. That's good. So straight up, if you go to the horse racing, some of the best bettors, they always bet on both of them, man. I'm like, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, look at the odds. But look, that government's horse in that race is the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, the tax collectors, the tax in the same currency that you're being that you're exchanging your labor and time on this earth for. Foundation. So getting attached to the avatar giving to you by the government is, in my opinion, not a good idea. So let's talk about this. I said war of the avatars because it's plural for avatars to do business with in the United States, open bank accounts with in the United States, own property, enter into contract, bind obligations, take out loans, give loans, so on and so forth in the United States. There's a class or caste system in the United States. Just like in India. If you look at India, they have a caste system. If you study India at all, in school or on your own, you understand that there's a caste system. So, the untouchables and whatnot. There's a caste system in the United States as well. It's hidden, though. It's hidden in the names. It's hidden in the avatars. And that's the foundation. It's war, commercial war. And it's the war of your life. Because even if you're only doing 8 hours a day, 8 hours a day is a third of your day, and the other third is spent sleeping. If you're taking care of your true natural avatar. And that's a lot of time. If you're looking at, most people retire at 50, they get into the workforce after college, it's around, 22, about 30 years. That's probably why I have the mortgage right around there. That's a lot of time to be exchanging for currency that can be manipulated by a government. So specifically, due diligence would be, if you're going to war, you need to understand tactics. If you are going to ride a bike, you need to understand how to pedal forward, hit the brakes, turn left, turn right, and look where you're going and observe all and any potential threats. Vehicles, cars, walking down the street, walking your dog. All these things are necessary with practice and what we would call study. We all learned how to walk. At least this much amount of time should be spent in the study of the different avatars available to those wishing to do business or required to do business in the United States. Just a few of those avatars are nonprofit organizations, charitable organizations, ministerial, religious organizations, corporations, incorporations, limited liability corporations, sole proprietorships, limited liability partnerships, and last but not least, last and least, the so-called government name, trade name, avatar, the lowest, most handicapped vehicle to do business in.
I think a foundational principle would be own nothing, control everything. To introduce the audience to what foundation is, is you have to live by that principle. It has to become the moniker of your family. It's very, that's just one of the foundation principles. But own nothing, control everything is the path to freedom. I mean, we understand ownership incurs liability. These are terminologies that it's financial talk, but we can talk that language. So we encourage our listeners to understand that language too, which means you would get a Black's Law dictionary. You would have a dictionary that would be financial, legal terms that would be holding you binded in a contract. So we encourage our listeners to read contract law. That's foundational. But own nothing, control everything, that's a foundational principle for you all. I mean, if you all want to grow to the next level, it's a mindset. You know, it turns into an action. It's sort of like the word love. It turns into an action. You know, and so, you know, I just wanted to put that out there. So there's, you know, it's very imperative that we talk about some of the foundational, you know, principles, you know, right away.
No, I appreciate that. Another foundational principle is, as there is a night, time of the day, and a daytime of the day, 24 hours, you need, I would suggest, I mean, I guess you don't need it. Who am I? Free will. But there's a spiritual aspect as well as a physical aspect. So, you know, some would say one's faith is the spiritual, and the dictionary, whether, as you know, more specifically a law dictionary, is you know, for the I wouldn't say physical, but for more of the physical or the physicality of life, because we need, you know, food, clothing, and shelter, and we desire certain things, and there is a system derived to facilitate these desires and necessities. So, you know, I guess water is physical. A vehicle you jump in is physical. The clothes that you put on your body is physical. And that realm is ruled by law and legalese. And one needs to be, in my opinion, or hang up, needs to be at least around two different dictionaries. One layman dictionary, you know, Webster's or whatever, and you know, one law dictionary, whether it's Black's or Bouvier's, because all of commercial transactions, especially, and most importantly, more specifically when you're dealing with statutes, legislation, commerce, take place with Federal Reserve notes. And a note, the term note is not what you will find in Webster's. And if you have any cash in your pocket or in your bank account right now, it is pretty important to know what that word means and what those terms mean on those instruments that you use every day. You know, note is a legal term, and you would need a legal dictionary. One would be required to have a legal dictionary, should have one anyways. Your family should have one, which is another foundation, is that if you're not working for your last name, I don't know what you're doing. I'm not even going to lay any type of judgment on that demonstration, but if you're not working for your last name, I don't know why. And the last name is held in trust. So all last name or, you know, family assets are to be held in trust. And this is foundation information that will not be taught in any public educational school system. So it is incumbent upon anyone in a family setting who honors their family, their mothers and their fathers, to understand trust and trust law, which, breaks down to law dictionary as well. And the foundational principle we're touching on this evening is Commerciavelli. This is commercial warfare. You're dealing with Federal Reserve notes. You're dealing with any type of government currency. It's war, plain and simple. So are you going to be warred against, or are you going to war against, is the question. And if you don't have a plan, if you don't know the formations, if you don't even know the entities that you're using in the subsequent liabilities and benefits, then you're going to get warred against. Basically how it is. And we all know it. We all feel it. We're being warred against. Just don't know how, like why and how, blah, blah, blah. Well, foundational information will let you know that it's through the currency, and it's through the avatars that are being used to do business. And that's the only way that you can be touched by a commercial system that is inferior to you. Inferior being that it was made by those who would call themselves of men, of man or mankind, and not made by that which created you. So it is inferior. And the only way you can be touched by this jurisdiction is through your avatar and the avatar that you're using. Mm. Now, we have brothers and sisters that are running around using this all capital name because they believe it's theirs and they have some sort of selfish claim to it. Same way some of my people still eating pork when we know where that came from and that we shouldn't be eating that. Same way some of my people are still drinking soda, high fructose corn syrup, and all these different things that we know we shouldn't be dealing with. And once in a while, whatever, I do it too. But, come on, man. Using this thing that has a name very similar to what your mother and father called you all your life, so you claim it without understanding the liabilities and benefits with regards to it, without setting up some sort of contract that you have executed with regards to how you're going to interact and interface with this avatar from a jurisdiction that is superior to the jurisdiction that this avatar will be in. Instead of amalgamating yourself, combining yourself, associating yourself without limited liability capacity to this avatar. All types of collections on the credit report, stress, can't open an account, I can't get a job, and, I can't get this credit card, I have this credit card debt and all this other stuff, man. Look, doesn't that allude to the fact that you're doing it wrong? That's what I think. We're doing it wrong.
That's the facts.
Foundational. That's the facts. Foundational information. It's the same as the game as Monopoly. You pick a little token, the wheelbarrow, the little dog, whatever. And that represents you on the board. That's your piece on the board. But when that piece goes to jail, you don't go to jail. But at the same time, when that piece gets money, that money has no value to you. But that's where the disconnect came, because we became dependent on a commercial system for our food, clothing, and shelter. We don't build our own homes. Yusuf says this all the time. We don't grow our own food. We don't make our own clothes. We don't know how to make a fire. Can you make a fire without a lighter or a match that you bought from somewhere? Probably not. Me, it take me like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, probably 25 minutes. Take me a while. I can do it. It's the worst, though. Hands is raw. Just ain't built for it. We forgot. So we need to go into the system to get our sustenance and what we require as humans on this earth, which is a trick and a trap in and of itself. But we were born into it, so it is up to us to unbind ourselves how we were bound or how we were bound. If we were born into a bound system, we look to our ancestors to see how they were bound so that we can begin to unbind. And the foundation of that is Commerciavelli, man. It's Commerciavelli, period. And any time that any specific group challenged the status quo, they were taken out in the United States. And the United States loves to promote, so-called African-American or black man being bombed and taken out. But look, man, Waco, Texas, there's a lot of different scenarios that aren't on the mainstream and that don't propagate where it was not just so-called black people and African Americans that were being taken out by the United States government. It's because they challenged the status quo. They were getting to so-called big for their britches is what they would call. But really, realistically, it's a threat. Too much of this information is a threat to, the government as we know it, and or certain facets of the government as we know it. Maybe make a sweeping generalization like that. But so when it comes to what we know and what we're taught by this government is very limited and narrow. It's a very narrow field. And if you think about it, you go to school for all this time to get a single degree, but if you look at it scientifically, a circle has 360 degrees. And there's no way you can use this way of educating yourself to get all the degrees necessary to, have a full circle. It would take too long, and that's the way it's set up. So we need to understand that we are being warred against through these instruments known as Federal Reserve notes or dollars. As interest rates are being raised with regards to the Fed, the Federal Reserve, that trickles down all the way to your local, bank and credit union. Trickles down all the way to your local grocery store, coffee shop, mechanic, because they're all using the same banking institutions that are all abiding by the same Federal Reserve codes and regulations that are passed down by the Federal Reserve banks and, the board. And that's what we're not seeing. That's what we're not putting together. So this is the foundation. Let me drill that into the heads of everyone who's listening. And if this is not new information to you, I apologize, but probably should have figured it out by the name of the show. It's called The Foundation. We build it from the ground up over here. And I mean no disrespect. The warfare is against the persons of power with your food, your homes, your clothes for your children, your recreational expenses, for your commuting expenses, everything that you care and hold dear somehow requires some sort of remuneration with regards to currency. And that's where the warfare takes place. We do not and have not the authority to negotiate to be paid wages in gold and silver that can't be manipulated by a board, even though gold and silver has been manipulated by banks. But, investors aren't going to stand for that, whereas the common people through ignorance stand for a lot. So Commerciavelli is commercial warfare. Commerciavelli is warfare on the people through not only their labor and their wages of their labor, with the goods and services that they need and desire, and have to use the medium of exchange that they were paid. That is, being manipulated by forces outside of their control. Plain and simple. You know, I studied the Internal Revenue Code. The gift tax is $14,000. I realize and acknowledge that the amount of that gift tax exclusion of $14,000 without the decision on that amount was outside of my control. The decision on whether the Fed raises or doesn't raise the interest rate with regards to Federal Reserve notes is outside of my control. You know what I'm saying, Sharif?
Yeah.
Let's just sit here and understand. We got people in India, unverified reports, because they won't verify them, that lost a lot of money, a lot of wealth, because they took those bills out of circulation. It would only allow certain people to deposit a certain number of bills per person. A lot of people lost a tremendous amount of wealth because they were holding it in currency.
Yeah.
So think about it, man. Like, okay, like me,
well,
you know, I could deal with a lot of stuff with me, but think about your dad or your mom, Sharif. You know, she worked, you know, and then she retired and she saved a bunch of money. But we in India, so, you know, we don't really trust banks. There's a lot of corruption, son. But, you know, we know that this cash is what's up. So we, you know, your mom's got a lot of savings in these bills, and then the government pulled this, and within 2 weeks, all those bills or half of those bills are worthless.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I think that, you know, no one's talking about right now is the hacking. There's a huge hacker community internationally, and they've already talked about hacking. They've put out a lot of propaganda out recently about, you know, fake news and things of this nature. And I just think that the hacking is one of the issues that when you speak of this, you know, to hit a reset button on anything is all computerized. So I just think that the hacking is something that needs to be considered, which is something that, you know, people say, well, what does hacking have to do with anything? Well, the hacking has to do with everything. I mean, one button, someone can shut something down and shut, you know, cities down, and they've done it already. So there are things that, you know, you need to be aware of as you navigate out here.
Exactly. I'm glad you brought that up, because let's just hypothesize with one of the main servers of the Federal Reserve being hacked, and all of the national banks in the United States subsequently were infiltrated through some sort of program that, let me not even get weird, because, you know, I mess with technology, so I can get really weird, because technology, code can do some stuff that's built on code. But let's just say they just shut it down. They shut the bank down. Their computers can't turn on. Or when they turn on, they can't access the Fed window, so they can't verify deposits or whatever. So that the banks have to go, you know, the president has to declare a bank holiday until they figure that out. Which means you cannot use your debit card, your credit card, or pull any money out the ATM, because they can't verify how much money you had in your account.
That's already happened, though. So, see, that's my biggest thing. It's like, okay, so when we talk about that, once again, they've already created fake accounts. Banks have already been hacked. I mean, are you guys serious? Like, banks have been hacked recently in the news. We all know about this. You all can Google basic companies. And then as well, these companies are committing fraud left and right. If they're committing fraud, they can easily be hacked. That's an easy way to be able to cop out. Hey, we got hacked. Yeah, we just got took off $30 billion. Our bank had to shut down because we were getting taken off. We don't even know who they are. Like, are you serious? This is the type of stuff that fraud that's going on. And when I say fraud, real quick, and when I say fraud, they've already been caught manipulating the gold and silver market. They paid the government money already. Banks have paid the government that they respectively in and said, hey, you know, we were manipulating the gold and silver market. So the gold and silver prices that you see that are every day that you if you go on the NASDAQ or Dow or whatever where you're going to see gold or silver, those prices come from banks. Some of them are private banks, but banks. And so banks were manipulating those prices, and the big banks were. And they paid the government a settlement fee because they were doing it and they had to admit it. And so as you can see, the fraud is exchanging from the left hand to the right hand. And they're going to let you both know. So don't be fooled out here, brothers and sisters. Soda knowledge is, I speak of it from a perspective of economic relevance. But it's really like, if you don't have anything to trade at one point, wow, you are truly economically irrelevant. You have nothing. You might have some of the basic goods to trade, but after those things are gone, no hard savings, no hard tangible assets. Yeah. Collector's cars. That's crazy. So the collector's cars, the jewels, the diamonds, the pearls, art. Yeah. Interesting, brothers and sisters.
Yeah, and the bank holiday, when they shut the banks down, it's going to be for your protection, for your security. For the security of your account and for your protection, we're closing the banks until further notice, until we can figure out what's going on with this virus. Until that time, no ATM will be available and your credit card and debit cards will not work. Thank you for your cooperation. We appreciate your patience. They're already getting it to the point where, like, you know how hard it is to call up a company, most companies, and how long it takes to get an actual human on the phone? Getting people prepped to talking to robots and stuff. Because you can speak to them in complete sentences. But, yeah, classic cars. I don't know how many. I know a brother, one of my homies, man. I respect him. With everyone that you respect, there are some things that you don't respect about him. And of the many things I respect about this brother, one of the few things I don't respect about him is he's one of those sneakerheads. And sneakerheads is cool. It's cool. I like sneakers too. But my man got easily like 50 boxes of Jordans on his wall in his bedroom, and not like nailed on the wall or nothing. No, just stacked up against his wall. He shuffles through them, and most of them he don't even wear. And it's just really weird. But I wonder if there's any sneakerheads in India who had like a bunch of Jordans and stuff, and if so, when they pulled those bills out of circulation, and this currency thing started popping, how well the sneaker trade is going to be, or was actually in India, or in the U.S. how well it's going to be when we finally have a currency crunch and we're starting to have issues. How heavy is the sneaker game going to be?
I think it's going to be bottom dollar prices, but they're still going to sell them. I think people are going to be wanting to meet more because you're going to see like, wow, I need to sell. I need to make some cash. You're going to see rich people come out of nowhere and be like, man, I haven't seen those. And those been hiding for a minute in somebody's closet. Those are the classics, It's they'll spend $800 to $1,000 for a pair of shoes. You know, I think the market's definitely still there. I mean, you know, cats are paying, you know, $2,000 for a pair of sneakers, man. You know, nowadays when it comes to, you know, those type of shoes, man, those high-end shoes.
No, I understand right now, but I'm saying we're currency crunch. We understand, you know, people in India are paying over $2,200 an ounce for gold right now. And that Bitcoin has, you know, do you think money's going to flood into sneakers, or is it going to flood into, you know, real assets? Do you think people are going to be left holding sneakers? Like, a lot of people are left holding Beanie Babies, and I guess sneakers are way more practical than Beanie Babies, you know, because you can use them, you can wear them, you know, they're practical. People need to wear shoes. But, you know, my point is that a lot of my people, you know, a lot of us are going to be caught holding so-called assets that have no value. And I think we need to be very interested and concerned on what we exchange our life for. Because really what it is, you know, the time that you spend to get these Federal Reserve notes or to get that car or get whatever you're getting, you're never getting it back. So really, you know, you're paying with your life for these things. And I think that's very important to understand. And I think that's a foundational principle. When it comes to Commerciavelli, the rule book, the playbook is the Uniform Commercial Code, hands down. Commerce, the foundation of commerce is contracts. Period. Commercial contract. The Uniform Commercial Code is the law of commercial contracts. So if you don't own a copy of the UCC, you haven't printed off a copy of the UCC, you haven't got your hands on the UCC, please believe that it is baked into the statutes of your state. You just have to find it. It's in every state. It may be titled differently, you know, Section 33.4, and then, you know, it'll start with 101 or whatever. It'll start with the UCC and go from there. But you need that. That's the foundation. You need a law dictionary, preferably a Black's Law, 4th edition, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. I like those in that order. Without those two foundational instruments, the foundational bricks, this war is going to be pretty tough. And we know it. We see it, you know.
That's like showing up to football without the pads or the cleats.
Truly. You see it every day. A lot of people I see, you know, at gas stations, you know, different spots. People look worn out, man. Really tired, disheveled. There's a lot of people, 1040 filers, are on the wrong side of the war. Getting beat, getting hurt. It's very simple for me, but I know it's not that simple for most. And I just want to make it very clear that exchanging your life, your labor, your time, your energy for Federal Reserve notes, for U.S. dollars, is a very, 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 very risky thing without understanding the foundation of what that actually is. And it's commercial warfare. To get the lowest price for everything, and labor included. You know, is very important. So, if you want to touch on foundations, man, you want to touch on anything?
No, I'm good.
Got you. I'm about to pull this out, man. Because why not? So when we're dealing with Commerciavelli, we have the maxims of commercial law. There's 10 of them. These maxims are essential. The first maxim of commercial law, one of the foundations, is a workman is worthy of his or her hire. This is also expressed, in several different books of the Bible. It is against equity for free men not to have the free disposal of their own property, which is true indeed. The second foundational maxim of law. Go ahead.
So basically, I'm going to tell you just flat out, you're supposed to get paid for anything you do. That's the bottom line, brothers and sisters. If people say a workman is worthy of his hire, that means everything you do, you're supposed to get paid. It's that simple. That's one of the most foundational principles that people miss, is they think they're supposed to get a low wage. You're supposed to set the price and create multiple streams of income. A workman is worthy of his hire. That means you're supposed to get paid for what you do. I will not overemphasize that. Thank you, brother. I yield.
True indeed. The second maxim of commercial law, in commerce, all are equal under the law, which I don't necessarily agree with. It's war, so they can use propaganda in the war. When we're dealing with commerce, specifically when we're dealing with the social, it's not equal. They have equal access to commerce with regards to doing business, but it's not treated equally when it comes to taxation. Let me be very specific. So all are equal under the law. All names, all avatars can do business in commerce if those subsequent avatars, those names, have a commercial identifier or EIN, or if, one can cite some type of predecessor law or treaty that would require them not to have one. But we'll just stick with commerce and commercial entities for now. So all are equal under the law when it comes to doing business and contracting. They are not equal when it comes to taxation, taxation law. So let's be clear. No one is above the law. Should be founded in some natural and I would say moral law as well. For someone to say or act as though he or she is above the law is insane. This is the major insanity in the world today. So all are equal under the law. Number 3, in commerce, truth is sovereign. All right. I don't know what else to say besides that. It goes without saying. Truth is sovereign in commerce. Number 4, maxim of commercial law, truth is expressed in the form of an affidavit. So when you're dealing in commerce, whether you have, a dispute, or if you're, itemizing a bid, the truth is expressed in the form of an affidavit. Foundational maxim of commercial law is an unrebutted affidavit stands as truth in commerce. So, when we're dealing with bills and presentments, if you ignore it, it's default, judgment time, you've seen it, garnishments, all these things. Commercial maxim number 6, an unrebutted affidavit becomes the judgment in commerce because there is nothing left to resolve. The only way to rebut an affidavit is to rebut it with truth, point by point. Number 7, in commerce, for any matter to be resolved, it must be expressed. So, we get into that when people file lawsuits or you bring a claim against someone. That is an express claim. It's not an implied. 8, maxim of commercial law, he who leaves the battlefield first loses by default. It's the same as, an unrebutted affidavit or stands as truth. So, if you get a presentment in the mail, you ignore it, you left the battlefield, you lost. Number 9, sacrifice is the measure of credibility. So, nothing is ventured without having nothing ventured, nothing gained. So if you don't put anything up, you're not going to gain anything. Put yourself on the line, assume a position, put cash on the line, put something of value on the line. And that will be a measure of credibility, at least, when we're dealing with commerce. And as well, we're dealing with equity and privacy as well. Finally, 10, a lien or claim can be satisfied only through rebuttable affidavit point by point, resolution by jury, or payment. So the only way you can rebut a lien or a claim, or, which is a judgment that stands in commerce, is rebuttable by an affidavit point by point. You got to get a jury involved, or you got to just pay it, because this is commerce. It's all about, debtor, creditor. That's it. Get into this, man. I'm gonna go real quick, because we're dealing, and I've said this before, because we're dealing with notes. A note is also, what one would call a negotiable instrument. I know a lot of us don't deal in checks anymore, but a check from a bank account is a negotiable instrument. If you have a checkbook or you remember a checkbook, those who had the carbon copy, so you had a copy of the check that you wrote under it, on the bottom right-hand corner, it would say non-negotiable. Also, the line that you sign on isn't a line, it's microprint. That's what the MP stands for. And it's, the microprint is usually authorized signature over and over again. So it looks like a line. That's where the phrase sign on the dotted line came from. It's no game. This is commercial warfare. Negotiable instruments. Article 3 of the Uniform Commercial Code. Please understand, when you go to the grocery store, you write a check, when you use Federal Reserve notes to buy a banana, fill up your gas tank, you are using negotiable instruments. You are discharging the obligation to pay a debt until a later time. This is exactly technically what's going on. Every time we pay money for something, so-called money for something. So Article 3 of the Uniform Commercial Code, which is the playbook of commerce, or the rule book, my bad, the rule book. You come up with your own playbook. That's why it's best to build in the private and get a team. But the rule book of commerce is the UCC, Uniform Commercial Code. Deals with negotiable instruments. A negotiable instrument is an unconditional promise or order to pay a fixed amount of money with or without interest or other charges described in the promise or order. I'll say that again. A negotiable instrument means an unconditional promise or order to pay a fixed amount of money with or without interest or other charges described in the promise or order. A bank note is a negotiable instrument. A check is a negotiable instrument. Federal Reserve notes. An instrument is a note if it is a promise and is a draft if it is an order. So a negotiable instrument means an unconditional promise or order to pay a fixed amount of money with or without interest or other charges described in the promise or order. Instrument is a note if it is a promise and is a draft if it is an order. So if you look at your dollar bill, your $5 bill, $10 bill, $100 bill in your pocket because you're balling, it says this note, legal tender for all debts, public and private. Note. It's a promise. It's a negotiable instrument. You don't even know you're at war. That was 3-104. I read from 3-104A as well as 3-104E. F is a check. Check means a draft other than a documentary draft, payable on demand and drawn on a bank or a cashier's check or teller's check. The debit card is electronic negotiable instrument. That's why if you flip your credit card over, your debit card over, you flip it over, it says authorized signature in all capital letters. They don't hide that one because it's a card, a credit card. And they believe and know that we just think that that's to verify the signature on the ID for security, for our safety, when really that's required for the validity of a negotiable instrument. So if you look at your debit card, really what it is, it's a check. And every time you swipe it, you just wrote a check for that amount. And you swipe it for that amount again, you just wrote another check for that amount. And that authorized signature stays on the card. So therefore, you don't have to write it on the check itself. Actually, yeah, you do have to write your signature because they make you sign it if it's over a certain amount. So I believe that's, specific foundation. If you're dealing with the UCC, specifically foundational information would be UCC 1-308, which is performance or acceptance under reservation of rights. Qualification of signatures on instruments, I believe, are important. If you look at your Federal Reserve note, there's 2 signatures on there. On trust accounts, a lot of trust accounts require 2 trustee signatures on the check for it to be cashable or negotiable, deposited or whatever. So, once again, I think, foundation is, with regard to Commerciavelli, we're dealing with names. We're dealing with avatars in a commercial realm, predominantly because we have become dependent on this commercial system through education as well as tradition, I would say. My dad went to a grocery store. My mom went to a grocery store. my dad had a job. So predominantly due to, what we were taught and what we're taught in public schools. But what we're not taught is, depending on your rank or the rank of the avatar that you're using, will ultimately determine the quality of life that you and yours live. So through the avatars and through the names in this commercial warfare is how the caste system is implemented. Now, no matter what name you're using, whether it's the all capital name, it's the legal name. We were talking about that last night on the vault. The trade name, an LLC, a corporation. The rules to the game are the Uniform Commercial Code. When we're dealing with taxation, and the preservation of wealth and it not being taxed away, taken away, FICA'd away, Social Security away, spirited away. We got to understand the caste system with regards to these avatars, with regards to these names. Ultimately, if you're dealing with a commercial entity, you're in commercial warfare, you're going to war against other commercial entities that are represented by other individuals and families who are looking to do what you're looking to do, which is extract wealth and value out of this game, out of this arena. So someone's got to lose, like we said. Someone's got to lose. Stock market, someone's got to lose. Lots of people lose every day. And because, we are dependent on this system for food, clothing, shelter, necessities that we need to live, don't you think it's important for us to understand the playbook or develop a playbook and understand the rules to this commercial realm? Don't you think it's important to know what the best entity is to use? Don't you think you should understand? Go ahead.
Brother, I'm going to just go ahead and say it. The enemy has to live with their Achilles heel. The enemy's Achilles heel is their money. That's their Achilles heel. Okay? Now you got to know the playbook for how their money works. That's it. You got to know their playbook. What's wrong with going in and beating them at their own game? The Chinese have done it. The Japanese have done it. Nigeria's done it. Are we going to be the birth of a new nation? Are we going to come up from the ashes like the phoenix do? I'm open to ideas. I just think that, what Soda's saying is we have to go into the house and the mind of the so-called enemy and beat them at their game. Their game is money. Their game is not even paying taxes, but they got a caste system in place. That's the game, brothers and sisters. And there's brothers and sisters that have beat this system, because we can tell you all and we can share with you all because we know and we're living it. So this is interesting, brothers and sisters. We got to beat them at their own game. If they're not going to report, you don't have to report. But don't do it in a fraudulent way. Learn how to do it the correct way, the way that they try to say, well, I didn't really have a part in it. I don't own it. So, brothers and sisters, let's play the game. Let's get into the mind. That was the main thing I wanted to say, so, man, because it's just like, how you going to say you're going to beat the enemy in his house and you're not going to play by the rules? It's like, look, let's just go ahead and play by the rules real quick. What's the rules? The rules is do business. Some people say, oh, man, it's been a lot of resorts where it doesn't even matter anymore. It doesn't matter. Like, okay, sure, we'll get out of here. You're faithless. We're focused on individuals that have provided for themselves, their families immediately, and that can provide for individuals in the community. They can say, hey, look, we're out here. We can share with you all charitable entities as well as profit entities. We want to make sure that we can bring it all to the community. That's what we want to do. That's what we're here to do. But it always involves some commercial aspect to it. So we got to think like the so-called oppressor and the so-called enemy and understand how they think. If there's ever a they, you have to understand how your enemy thinks. And then you have to come up with a solution on how to beat them. And what's their Achilles heel? It's the money. It's the money. So would you agree, so?
I would agree. I would absolutely agree.
Come
on. It's a race to get rid of these notes on their side. It's a race. On our side, we trying to hold on to them. They're debt notes. They're promises. The negotiable instruments, we're trying to hold on to them. We value them. We've been taught to value them, taught to hold them dear. The ones who know, get rid of them as fast as they can. As fast as they can. And get a hold of tangible assets or invest it or purchase property or, purchase a depreciating asset, whatever, just get rid of it. And that's one of the foundational points I want to put across. We are consumers, and that's cool. But I believe that mostly and majority we're consuming the wrong things. Hoarding the wrong things or holding up the wrong things, specifically cash or currency. I got to get some more money, man. I need this money, man. People talk about money so much, whereas I speak on what the money brings. And that's, that works out very well for me. I know Sharif does that as well. I've observed, works out pretty well for him as well. Those who understand commerce and that it is commercial warfare, understand that Federal Reserve notes are a slave wage, holds you down. Especially, when we come into, and I'm just going to stick to food, clothing, and shelter. Those are the three largest bills, largest expenses when it comes to a private family. What? Most private families. And the uninformed families, that's what we get. Uninformed families. Uninformed families work for their money. Exchange their time and labor for their money, for their currency. So there's a value there when really that currency is valueless. It's paper. Get rid of it. So, we hold tangible assets. That's a foundational principle. Appreciating assets. Appreciating an asset puts money in your pocket, or at the very least, it maintains its value. A liability takes money out of your pocket, period. So from that standpoint, when you're getting into purchasing a property, and from a standpoint and a setup to where it's not a liability. It's done every day. Foundation. It's currency wars. If you're paying attention, you see. We see currency wars. That's all you see. Currency wars. The worst hit are the most dependent on the currency. Low-level laborers, skilled laborers, and those who are dependent on, weekly checks or salaries. At the whim of the inflationary, deflationary policies with regards to the currency, you go in the stores, it costs them more. The bills are increasing. You get a notice from the power company that they're increasing this fee and that fee, and this is going to go up. Costs are continuing to rise, but the amount people are getting paid aren't rising at the same pace as the costs are. That's war. That's deep, and that's war. And that is where wealth is created in commerce. You don't make money when you sell. You make the money when you buy. If you buy at the wrong price, you'll never make money selling it. And when it comes to labor, point blank and period, these corporations are making at least 3 times what they're paying you off of your own labor. That's the way it's set up, explicitly. At least 3 times. They have to. How can they keep the lights on? How can they pay you and them and them and them and them and then pay the lights and then pay the phones and then, pay the bills? And, where do you think that money's coming from? Where do you think that equity, that value is coming from? The corporation's employees. You got CEOs and all these executives that get bonuses and stuff. You might get a pizza party, an insult, a slap in the face. Here, you got some pizza. We brought pizza. Okay, go back to work. Give you a bonus. Here's $200. Then you get your check and you see that they put the $200 bonus on the check, man. That wasn't a $200 bonus. It was a $50 bonus when it comes down to it after taxes. I spent the $200. But really what I did was spend $150 of my own dollars. It's war. It's Commerciavelli. Period. And this is a foundational principle, which means we need to be prepared. Because we are in commerce, we need to be prepared. Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's not, I don't have time. I'm busy. My kids, I fell my ankle. Got to watch my show. The game's on. Like, really? How you watching the game? TV. Did you buy the TV? Yeah. The Federal Reserve notes? Yeah. Cable, you pay for the cable. There's a cable that comes in here. You pay a cable bill every month? Yeah. You don't know the rules of that game that you doing every month? Every 15th, every 29th, 27th. It's weird. Every bill is due on a different day of the month. And they're being paid or not being paid. And we don't even understand the rules. We haven't even created a team to create a playbook.
Their ass is handy to us. It looks good for the numbers, but they know the numbers are skewed. But nah, man, people know where our people are at, and that's real. So, we have cities that are kind of like, are you serious? In the United States, the wealthiest country in the world, and that's here? Oh, okay. Might not be the land of the free after all.
Those who know understand commerce, understand that it's war, understand that extra, that income, that profit is coming from somewhere. It doesn't poof out of the thin air. And this commercial system is set up to rob you of your labor, of your value, and of your possessions when you can't pay the bills. Hands down. And then the financial crash will take out half of your savings, if not more, like it did in 2008 to so many people. I mean, how do you think about that? You work. You work 20-something years or 15 years, 10 years, I don't care, and you watched your retirement account. You've been adding to it, you've been putting money into it, and maybe you haven't even paid attention to it. But you got this retirement account, and that's yours, man. That's owed to you. That's part of your package. of employment, along with the salary or the paycheck, the hourly wage, whatever. Along with the time off, the vacation and the sick time, hopefully the health care. And then suddenly, some headlines a week, some numbers, some stock market, which is, facilitated through computers, man, crashes, and you lose half of your money. What? And at the same time that stock market crashed, gold skyrockets. So what was that at? 3 G's? Or was that, Sharif? I can't remember, man. And then silver went up to like $60 an ounce.
Yeah. It was about 2,300. Yeah.
And an ounce of silver was like around $60 an ounce.
It was up there.
And people's homes got foreclosed on, lost half their savings. And check this out. This is commercial warfare. Listen. The United States currency is based on the full faith and credit of the people, right, Sharif?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the banks were bailed out by the United States, which currency is based on the full faith and credit of the people, right? And then the banks, after being bailed out by the United States, which currency is based on the full faith and credit of the people, turn around and foreclose on the people, foreclose on their homes.
Right.
After being bailed out. That's not war. That's not Commerciavelli. Tell me that's not Commerciavelli. Tell me that's not commercial warfare against the people.
This time it's going to be a bail-in, not a bail-out.
That's a necessity. Shelter. That's your shelter. One of the necessities of human life. Of three, the triune of human existence, physically, food, clothing, and shelter. That's war. We need to understand the rules to this war, the rules to this game, because we didn't create these Federal Reserve notes. We didn't create the Federal Reserve. We're not manipulating the currency. We're not upping the interest rates. We're not lowering the interest rates. We're not the one administering the Social Security trust account or the FICA account. We have no control over this. As LeBron James goes on the court and has no control over the rules of the game. He just knows them and has crafted his skill within the boundaries of those rules and has excelled. How long you gonna play on the court? You keep getting you double dribbling, traveling, fouling people, going out of bounds. How long you gonna think you can play that game without getting penalties? IRS penalties and fees. Uniform Commercial Code, UCC. Get it. Go to your state. It usually should be at the Secretary of State. What is it? Commercial Code. Don't even type in uniform. Just type in your state and then type in Commercial Code statutes. And it might be the first link, it might not. Don't be lazy. You need that. You at least need to study the definitions, Article 1, and you at least need to study Article 3. And if you have a mortgage or a loan, a car loan, you need to study Article 9 and Article 8. Otherwise, you have no business in the game. That's a foundation. You have no business in the game. And if you are in the game and you're crying, you have no business crying. Point blank and period. And that's the foundation. And I ain't pulling no punches. You don't like it? I don't know. Hang up. Turn it off. Go to another program. It's 2017, man. There's so much stuff out here you don't need to hear. But the truth of the matter is this is war. It's against you and the ones you love, the ones you care about. You got children? You don't got children? You got someone that you like? Someone that you're smitten with? You might be dating or something? War on them, too. You got parents? War on them. On their retirement, on their savings, on their quality of life. After they done put so many years into this commercial system. And the legs is getting broken. Retirement accounts is getting taken out. And that was the whole ploy. When they took the responsibility from the corporations that these people work for retirement, took it away and put it on the stock markets, man. We should have known it was all bad. 401ks and stuff. It's war. It's straight up war. There's nothing else you can say.
Yep.
It's war with your life. You don't get that time back. My uncle, I know people lost half their savings, but they worked that time. They lost their savings and they lost that time. They ain't get that time back. They ain't get their money back. You can make more money, but you can't get that time back. So you just robbed of all that time you worked. However much you lost, however much your currency is devalued over time, or with taxes on top of goods and services and so on and so forth. That's minutes and hours of your life being taken from you. The value of that time of your life being erased off the board when it comes to economics. And how can you be economically relevant when the relevancy of your economics can be erased off the board at a later date? At any date. We don't even know it's a board. I don't know, Sharif, man. We can probably start wrapping this up. But what you think, man?
Hey, man, like you say, most people don't even know it's a board, bro. And then they don't know. And it's like, dude, we're waking people up to the basics, the foundation of what you're dealing with here. You're dealing with commercial warfare. I always give the example of people not being able to wipe their butt without having to pay for toilet paper. And, of course, we can get the joke and say, yeah, you can get some for free. But it's not you're not going to get that your whole life, a free roll of toilet paper. So I just feel like if commerce is that subtle to us, we have to be intelligent and think intelligently and move forward. I think we can do that. It's just interesting that, people may come away from this with a mixed review, but I think we're going to get good reviews on this one because, you really highlighted the aspect of what is going on is commercial warfare, and you brought it in so many different examples of how people are encountering this, and you just have to hammer that point home because, people, they might not, they need to be woke from their perspective, and I think you're doing well with just giving different perspectives on what is Commerciavelli and how we encounter it on our daily lives,
Yeah, man. I mean, that's all I'm trying to do. Look at this. We got a caller. I'm bringing this caller. Yeah, I appreciate that, Sharif. Yeah, man. That's what I'm trying to do, man. I just want to really bring home the foundation of these principles. We're not going to stick on Commerciavelli. This is just a show. Obviously, we are going to get to, and I'm going to get into various topics and foundational information because it's important. And I know that there's a lot of stuff out here where cats are trying to be, vague, translucent, and all this stuff to, up the money with regards to this being commerce, going to war against you with information. And you understand that you have a lack thereof, so they're using that to war against you against your labor and your Federal Reserve notes or whatever. So, I really just want to bring home with the whole entire platform that it's like it's time to step up their game. Everyone, gurus, people who are trying to educate, mothers, fathers, sisters, cousins, pets. I don't care. And if you're making money off of this type of information, you ain't gonna like me, or you're gonna step your game up. Period. Because we out here, and I'm about to lay the foundation for y'all, and we just gonna come heavy, man. I'm glad Sharif, was willing to be here with me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna take this first caller. Caller 718-4911. Peace.
All right. Peace to L. Peace to Reese Ali. This is Darryl.
Peace, brother Darryl.
Peace, brother Darryl. How you doing?
Sometimes I do talk about some other things. When you said full faith and credit, you have some a community out there, and I have heard a few of them on the radio. I recognize some of their voice, they tone and their tempo, and but like a lot of times I bring stuff up that I hear from other communities, and but when you said full faith and credit, you have a lot of people authenticating their birth certificate. Y'all don't deal with that, right? Some people. Okay.
It depends. It depends on what you're doing it for. You know what I mean? Like I don't really see it as, really what it is. If you look at the statutes that are cited on the bottom of that authentication when you get it from the Department of State, the really only significant one is with regards to an authenticated document is equivalent to the original. So if you're trying to make any type of claim, you're going to have some sort of original document or an authenticated copy of the document. So that's the overall, what people want to do with it beyond that, at least on this episode, I don't even want to get into it. But it's either way, it's a document from the United States, man. It's
now
document.
like Donald Trump, right? Okay, he has like Trump Towers, and his name is Donald Trump, and like when I was speaking, like I guess it was like two episodes ago on the vote, it was like I was saying that his name is Donald Trump, so I guess he did like a DBA doing business as Trump. Am I correct or I'm wrong with that?
I have no idea, brother. I don't have any understanding of his business affairs.
Okay.
Sorry, man.
Cause I figured that he owns Trump Plaza, so that's what I figured. Cause I guess you could kind of keep your name or part of your name, and just have ownership of it. Of that corporate entity with that. If I have it right. But it's always a pleasure talking to y'all like that,
Hey, appreciate you calling in, man.
Okay.
Always
thanks
for
the input. Peace to the guys.
All right, peace.
I do want to say that that's not even their name. His family name is not Trump. Like one of his ancestors, I think it was his grandfather, changed the name. The family last name is Drumpf with a D. Drumpf. I think there's an F in there too, or a PH or something. Do your research, man. And not you, Darryl, but just all listeners and stuff. A name is a name, and it can be changed. And who even knows if he owns those buildings or if he's just leasing his name out? That could be incredible. But appreciate you calling in, brother Darryl, man. We're gonna go to the next caller here in a second. Next caller is 609? Yeah, 609-3782. Peace. What's your name?
Peace to the guys. Peace to the guys, Sharif and Soda. This is ZL. Good to hear you on the Foundation Show, gentlemen.
Peace,
brother.
Peace.
How you doing?
I'm blessed, thank you. I noticed that the term foundation of your show is actually where you're going in to see where the footprints and the directions that one should follow. And I just would like to say that one characteristic of foundation that was set into motion in this financial revelation that you bring to us, seeing the financial traps that were set that we have to see our way through, is to understand that Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution says no contract shall be abridged. And this is what Carnegie, Rockefeller, Ford, and multiple family institutions set into motion with their philanthropic societies. Why do I say that? I say that because they created educational systems that were part of their charitable events. They created all these foundations of education for adults and things of that nature. Education, general education to the public was created by the Rockefellers. And it was through these institutions that was set up as a tax write-off for them, listed as a charity, but in fact what it did was subvert the authentic thinking of Americans, which set the motion of us being retarded as far as understanding what money is. But I'm not.
I love the way you break that down.
I don't want to deter from the fact that I appreciate you, Soto L. I appreciate you, Sharif, and I appreciate the show, and thank you for letting me comment.
Man, appreciate you calling in. Thanks for being here for the first show. The first broadcast of the foundation, man.
You're very welcome, sir.
Peace to the gods.
Peace to the gods.
Brother Zed L. That's a homie, man. Next caller, 205-0377. Peace. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Peace to the guys. Your brother Mello Bay, so Sheree.
Mello, what's good?
Birmingham, Alabama.
Mello Bay.
Peace,
Yes,
brother.
sir.
Peace.
Yes, sir. Just tuning in as promised, you know what I'm saying, and came in, you know what I'm saying, on the beginning. So definitely, I just salute you brothers for the CodeNet cash strip, you know what I mean, cash system, you know what I'm saying, hold, you know what I'm saying, demonstration, because we got family out here, man, that don't understand or comprehend the fact that this is actually, look at the setup, it's the Game of Thrones, boardwalk. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Boardwalk, you know what I'm saying, empire. You know what I'm saying? We got to check this thing out and learn how these individuals came up on these de facto identities, you see what I'm saying? So, and switch from that to perpetrating that to de jure. So, you know, I just been actually studying, you know, a part in that too, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I just been mingling with the brothers on the block, though, definitely, and breaking it down to them and definitely sharing the info, you know what I'm saying, and whatnot, and keeping certain ones tuned in. So, you know what I'm saying, I'm definitely holding you brothers down, you know what I'm saying, so that way you can keep building us up, you know what I mean. So that's just definitely what it is. I salute you, definitely you brothers, you know what I'm saying, again tonight on the foundation, you know what I'm saying. Let's put those blocks in place and let's build, you feel me?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what we doing. Appreciate you, man, holding us down. You on the block teaching, you said? You putting it down?
Yes, sir. You know how it is when you making trips around the way or whatnot. You know, you got brothers around the way that's operating ignorant. They on their ignorant status. You know, my man got the pressure washer and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? He's riding around thing, but he working with the social. You know what I'm saying? He soul propping. You know what I'm saying? He don't know. So, you know, it was that perfect time. The Creator put that in the universe for me and let me know, like, hey, man, go and break it to the brother. You know what I mean? He's pretty much, he's a kosher brother, you know what I'm saying? He'll listen or whatnot. And then who's not going to actually stop and talk when you're talking about getting more money, you know what I'm saying, and then actually operating in a better capacity. So, you know, right. I just had to take the advantage, brother, and go ahead and take the tool and the jewels that you all have, you know what I'm saying, went in and prospect and came up with those divine, you know what I'm saying, treasures. And I had to go ahead and take them and break some out the bag. Like I say, though, you know, I got notes for days and different things, so I ain't trying to really, you know what I'm saying, choke them with it, you know what I'm saying. I definitely feed that, you know what I'm saying, at the pace that the brothers are willing to eat, you know what I'm saying. So, you know, that's definitely what it is. So, you know, myself, I'm about to go ahead and make the transition too, bro. You know what I'm saying? I was just getting everything all in preparation mode, you know what I'm saying? So I can go ahead and follow by the wise directions instead of just acting out here on the fool with experience, you know what I'm saying? So I just want to go ahead and go and do that. So I'm going to make the transition. Now, I got people set up. I got a website to get ready to start the build on. I got a novelty with a sister writing a book. You know what I'm saying? I got a brother that make handmade culture. You know what I'm saying? Items. I got a diverse portfolio I'm working on. Believe it, brother. You know what I'm saying? We ain't playing on it. We about to do business. So on many aspects.
Sounds like it.
It's real hard as that. Yeah, baby. Hard as that. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about conversions. You know what I'm saying? Definitely got to move forward to the family trust, because we got to actually realize out here corporations outlast people. You know what I'm saying? So let's strengthen the family. Let's get them out the dark, bring them into the light. You know what I'm saying? So they can glow and they can do their thing. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it's all about, man. Let's pass it on down. You know what I'm saying? Get those trustees involved. You know what I'm saying? You know, so that's just definitely what it is, bro. And salute you, brother, once again. Though holding you back, be looking out for me. We're gonna be, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna be doing some things. So I hit you up in the process.
We're gonna build. Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna be building.
Tell them about the Dallas event, because Dallas is where it's at.
Yeah, we're gonna be in Dallas in what is it? We're gonna do first week of March. I don't want to set a date yet.
Okay.
Yep, March 4th. That's funny. Yeah. March 4th. We're gonna be there. I think that's a Saturday, right, Sharif?
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out the logistics. We're still figuring it out. But we just got confirmation for the final speaker today. So
okay.
We got our brother, Cole brother, one of our mentors in the private with regard to trust administration out here. You know, if you don't have a $30 million net worth, he's not really dealing with you. You know what I mean? On the public level, on the public side. So we're gonna have him come in and put it down. You know, so that's gonna be a wonderful thing. So we're gonna figure out where it's at. More than likely, it's gonna be around Dallas Fort Worth Airport, the DFW. So March 4th, we're gonna have more information. We're gonna do it like last time. We have a flyer and all that stuff. Give away some tickets and stuff. Figure out the price and all that. So we look forward to dealing with you, man. Always forward, man. Handle some business in the future, for sure.
Indeed. Yes, sir. Consider it done.
All right. Yes, sir. Thanks for calling in, brother.
Yes, sir, indeed. Peace, brother. I'll let y'all in a minute.
All right, peace, brother, man. Yeah, that's what's up, man. Yeah, I'm excited. I don't really get excited, man, but I'm excited to be in Dallas. It's about to go down. Are you excited, Sharif? You need to get excited, man. Get excited, man.
I am excited. You know I'm excited, man. You know, we got home court advantage, guys, and so definitely give the email for how people can get in contact with us, for the early bird special, and just making sure people get their information so they can find out how to get tickets, and all that good stuff. We're still working on those things, brothers and sisters. You know how we do. We don't beat people over the head. We're not doing $1,000 events. We don't need to be doing that. We're keeping the event cost, less than $200 as well. We just don't need to do that in our community. For basic information, brothers and sisters, as y'all can hear, this is called the Foundation. So the Foundation will be in partnership with High Frequency Radio Network, and we will be doing once again a community event, just like the last time. And so it was awesome. It was a great session. I'm proud of it. Salute to the brothers and sisters that came out to the first event, and I just think that the second event is going to be just a better one. We're going to have a great turnout once again, and we always do, and we're going to keep moving forward with brothers and sisters that really are seeking the knowledge. And so once again, that is Dallas Fort Worth area. We got to move, brothers and sisters. We got to travel, and this is just a great area. We have, we don't want to brag, but we have our mentor available, and just it's going to be an epic one. This guy is the guy of who you guys see in front of you and here in front of you, and we'll get a chance to see in front of you because I will be there, so will be there, and as well my mentor. So brothers and sisters, y'all wanna go private. You wanna be private. You're gonna be able to learn from one of the individuals that's lived this way for 20 years. You know, his family has a charity. They live privately, and just somebody that you know, I highly respect. And you know, we got extra goodies for you all too, not just on that one person, because we do speakers. And me and Soda, we're gonna be bringing dynamite this time. You know, last time we threw a hand grenade, it blew up in some people's hands. You know, maybe it didn't blow off your hand, and maybe you got a Purple Heart, so you're ready to go to war. But at this point, Commerciavelli, we're making sure people know completely what the private is and what it looks like. My mentor is that individual that's lived there for 20 years. This is somebody that's taught me private trust for many years before High Frequency Radio Network. And so, you know, I just want to further the knowledge. And we finally got them to come out, and this is awesome. So we look forward to bringing them to you.
Absolutely. We're going to be giving away some tickets, too. It's going to be dope. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to figure out a way to... Someone's going to get an unincorporated business trust crafted by Soap L with the EIN included. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do it. But that's going to be one of the, you know, one of the things that I'm going to do when it comes to helping people move forward. I'm not playing. So be on the lookout for that. We got another caller, man. I do want to say, you know, I like how the brother Zed said, Article 1, Section 10, no state shall pass any law. What is it? No state shall pass any law. And I'll always be trying to remember word for word. No state, in part, no state shall pass any law impairing the obligations of contracts. And, you know, we were talking about how this all came in. It's, you know, de facto, I mean, technically, I wouldn't say it's de facto because we've all contracted into this. And that's a right we have is the contract. But let's go to the next caller. We are streaming right now, man. That's cool. There's a lot of callers, a lot of interaction for the first show. I love y'all. So 504-5993. 504-5993. Peace. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up with you brothers, man? It's Eddie Love.
Eddie Love.
Hey, man, this is a great show. This is a great show, man. A brilliant show, man. I want to highlight on something you said earlier. You said it's a physical aspect and a spiritual aspect of commerce. And one of the first things I teach people that's very serious about this game, that's very important, is I teach them how to get a proper diet, because a proper diet is very influential over your life. You know what I'm saying? The decisions we make, man, a lot of them, or our lack of making good decisions, you know, is because of the way we eat. You know, like you were saying about that pork, it actually, man, it you know, it destroys your neurological system very slow. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I just wanted to put that out there, man. You know.
I mean, if you could see, if we had a scanner in our home and we could see the physiological effects that the things that we eat and drink have on us, you know, man, we would not eat the way we eat. If we could see the synapses shutting down in our brains or firing up in our brains or something, if we could, you know, if not even being diabetic, but if took your blood sugar, just chilling, and then ate a candy bar or drank some soda, and then waited a couple minutes and took your blood sugar again, and just understood what this does to our bodies and how it affects our minds, our mental mind state, the way we interact with the stimulus around us and our environment, and as well as how we interpret information and how we react and respond to, you know, the stimuli of our environment, whether it be someone yelling at us, someone honking a horn, someone calling you a name, or what have you. You know, it's principally a lot of these things and the ways that we act are set up and precursored by, you know, our diet. and how we're living and stuff. So I'm absolutely with you on that. I believe in that.
Yeah.
I know that. It's not even a belief. I know that 100%. And that's what, I think that's foundation. Like foundation is, when we're dealing with our health, the health of our physical vessel. In my home, we spend a lot of money on food, organic, healthy food. And people be like, "Why you spend so much money?" It costs. I don't care. I think one of the most quality things we should be purchasing is the food that we're putting in our vessels to exist on this earth and spend time with our loved ones and express ourselves and live life and enjoy ourselves.
That's right.
That the main interface with this reality is our bodies. And diet and food is very important. Yeah, that's definitely foundation. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I thank y'all brothers, man. Y'all was very inspirational to me, man. So.
Hey, man, all praise is due to the Creator and ancestors, man. We do this. We love you, man. Yeah. We just want to see you do better, man. All of us.
No doubt.
So keep your head up, man. Keep it moving. Appreciate you calling in, man. Thanks for holding us down. Trying to build y'all up. And, peace to the guys, brother. Hey, love.
All right.
All right, man. Peace. And we got another caller. 872-5842. Peace. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Peace, brothers. This is Raquel out of Chicago.
Peace, brother Raquel. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm great. Just want to congratulate you, brothers, on the foundation. Man, I'm loving the information already, and I'm trying to. I heard you speak on the unincorporated trust. Now, is that similar to working? Is that like working in the private, or no?
Well, specifically, an unincorporated trust is an entity that is foreign to the United States, but is recognized to do business in the United States. So you can open a bank account, you can contract with you, purchase property, title property, so on and so forth. So it is a contract entity, and contract is private law, technically, or private contract law and public contract law. But really what it is, it's an entity that isn't incorporated with the state. So there's no state seal on it or anything. And right. So its governance is the actual indenture, the trust document itself. And it specifically, unless you're dealing with Federal Reserve notes, reporting, and contact with the public, everything else is not governed or what's the word I'm looking for? Regulated by statute, any public statute, United States, state, or otherwise. That makes sense.
Wow. Okay. Something else for me to look up and learn. You did.
It's just it's like the public is public, but from what I see, the private is still recognized. As long as you can walk into the Secretary of State and incorporate a corporation without showing your ID, that's a recognition of the private. As long as you can get in contact with the Internal Revenue Service and obtain an EIN number without a Social Security number, that's recognition of private. And, that's still happening today.
Okay. So you can't incorporate a business without identification as far as a valid state ID?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, how far do you live away from your Secretary of State?
I'm downtown, but like I was saying the other day, that I wanted to, incorporate in North Carolina. I didn't want to do incorporating in Illinois because, the taxes.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I also had
Yes,
another
sir.
question, kind of off the topic, real quick. But this Bitcoin thing that's been going, I've been hearing a lot about. Now, what is Bitcoin? If you got some quick time to break it down.
Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. So it's a digital currency.
Okay.
And think of it like digital coins, digital currency. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it's not regulated by any government, not regulated by any government agency, any corporation or anything. It's based on a blockchain, and it's really secure.
Okay.
It's impossible to hack, but it can be stolen. But it's been around for several years, and it's gaining more and more popularity as the world banking system begins to more and more put the grips on the people with currency policies and really just different legislation and policies that are really restrictive with regards to the government currency.
Mm-hmm.
So you should look it up, do some research.
Yeah, that's what I was doing a little bit of that earlier today. That's how I knew that it was like didn't have any regulations by the government, or it wasn't backed by any banks. Right.
So so far it cannot be manipulated, and I'm pretty good with tech, and from my study, no one's gonna figure it out.
Okay.
Now, it can, like any asset, it can be stolen. So gold can be stolen. And if you're not educated enough, you can get some counterfeit stuff. Maybe counterfeit bills, some counterfeit gold. So with any commodity, you got that to deal with. But it's a very secure currency. Sharif, you want to say something?
No, I'm good.
All right, now, since the way they operate, and it's like they're operating, I want to say maybe it is like a foreign currency. So is that like a private entity, more so in that they're able to get everybody work together on the same network? Is that what makes them private, if they are private?
Nah, see, like how it was set up is like Bitcoins are mined. It's interesting how it is, but they're mined. Mm-hmm. So you think of Bitcoin as like gold. So there's miners, not so much today because it's so cost intensive. But there's these programs that you have on computers that are on the internet, and basically they're breaking code and solving these equations, and using certain CPU, RAM, and bandwidth. However long it takes them to break these codes, they get Bitcoins or fractions of Bitcoins for doing all this Bitcoin mining, so to speak. So it's not regulated by anything. It's more of a platform, and a currency that's built off of a specific coin. But once again, it's a blockchain. It's blowing up for real.
Yeah, because I was looking at something earlier, and I guess like in 2009, when I don't know if it was started in 2009, but that was just the oldest of the videos that I checked out, and it was at that time it was like $160 American dollars for one Bitcoin. But then on the show the other day, I heard you guys mention that it had just went up, like I think like up to like $800 or something like that.
No, that's over 1,000 now.
It's over 1,000 now. Yeah, I think it was at 800, and you said it went up to like 11 or 1,300.
Mhm. You see, it's today at 11 a.m. is $1,103.58 for Bitcoin. So it went up since yesterday. It went up 83, a little over $83. From yesterday. 2 days ago it was 1,029. But it's 1,100 today. It's going to keep going up. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Okay.
The FBI stole a bunch of Bitcoins. They raided They raided this company. I think it was Mount MT Gov Gox. I don't remember the exact name of it. They raided this corporate headquarters for some reason. I don't remember. And they seized Bitcoins, right? And then one of the agents stole some of the Bitcoins. And it later came out, I think he went to jail. He stole a lot because he was a computer dude, and they didn't know. They figured it out later, because they do computer forensics and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I really want.
The FBI has a bunch of it.
FBI is in it too. But yeah, definitely appreciate the info from both of you brothers as usual, man. And, keep it up, and hopefully I can make it out there to Dallas, man.
Oh yeah. Hopefully you can make it out, man. That'd be cool. We're gonna give away some tickets too on the vault and on the foundation. So stay tuned throughout the next month, weeks, or so.
Okay. I definitely will, brothers. Peace.
All right, brother. Peace. All right, that was the last caller. If you sleeping? Sleeping on the foundation?
Yo, get out of here,
Stay
buddy.
there.
I'm wide awake, buddy.
You just laid the foundation. You went to sleep on it? I'm just playing.
I'm building.
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing. I'm ready. I'm working over here.
That's it, man. That's all I got. I appreciate, we definitely appreciate everyone who rocked with us on this first episode of the Foundation, Commerciavelli. I trust and hope that you have gained some valuable knowledge, insight, perspective, something to make you think, question, do something different with regards to the way that you're doing business, because it is war. Commerce is war. The way you're being paid for your labor, warlike tactics, it's not necessarily fair, but it is what it is. And we need to understand the rules to this game. So, I definitely want to thank everyone for checking us out. You check us out next Wednesday for the Foundation. Foundation will be on each and every Wednesday at the same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific. Did I get it right, Sharif?
Yeah, you got it right.
I'll practice that earlier.
You should tell them the number. Tell them the number and an email that they can get in contact with you. And the number for the show. 424-222-5250. That's the number for the show every Wednesday for the Foundation. Also, that's the number for the show for the Vault every Tuesday. You're on High Frequency Radio Network. You can hit us up at the Foundation. Very simple, HFRN foundation@gmail.com. If you got any questions, comments, complaints, I'll check it out. Sharif will check it out. Appreciate it, Sharif. You got anything, man? Okay, brother. Great show, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you helping me out. Thanks for everyone who called in and added to the topic and showed love. I'm humbled by the amount of people that are live on the show and that rock the entire time. Very humbled. Peace to you. Peace to your family. Prosperity to you, to your family in this new commercial year. And, check us out next time. HighFrequencyRadioNetwork.com. Welcome to the Vault.com. And, we'll be here next week. Peace.
Doing this thing all the way live. High Frequency Radio.